Hello, Teal Nation. Sam Wiederhaft with you for another edition of the Chant Pod, presented by Revolution Mortgage. We've got a special episode for you today because this one, we went to the very top. Athletic Director Chant Miller is on the show this week, and we covered a lot in this episode. The Chanticleers playing in their home stadium for the Myrtle Beach Bowl game. We talked about that. What the future is going to look like for Coastal football in this new era of college athletics. We covered that. The basketball season and things to look forward to in 2025, we got that too. We even got to hear Chant Miller's Spotify Wrapped and what that looked like this year. A really fun interview, and I can't wait for you guys to hear this one. So here it is, my conversation with Coastal Carolina Athletic Director Chant Miller. Well, it's always a good day in Teal Nation when we get to talk to the man in charge of the athletic department, Athletic Director Chant Miller. Chance, thanks for coming on. I know it's a busy season.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's always fun to talk to you on the Chant Pod presented by Revolution Mortgage. Let's just get right into it because this is a really busy time around college athletics, coastal athletics. Football's wrapping up. You got bowl games about to start. Basketball is in full force, about to start conference play. From an AD's perspective, what is this time like for you?
You know, it's busy, but it's exciting because you've got something going on every night. We've had an event almost every night this week. Whether it's, holiday party, we got board meetings, we got basketball games, and then football's trying to, go through recruiting and the transfer portal right now, but also get ready for a bowl game. So it's an exciting time. I know my kids are all excited because it's Christmas time. So they keep making me drag them to light shows and stuff in the evening. So just trying to balance it all. But, it's been a good semester.
So you are getting out with the family and you do have some time to celebrate the holidays.
Trying to. We went to see the lights over in North Myrtle Beach and a couple of other things. So if I don't do that, my kids won't let me hear the end of it.
That'll be a big problem. Hey, Myrtle Beach and Conway, the whole area has a great amount of holiday festivities.
It does.
And things to do. So that's awesome. But now, this is the first sit-down interview we've done since July when you first got started. So what's the day-to-day been like now that you've settled in and kind of have a schedule?
Well, I told somebody earlier today, I blinked and all of a sudden the semester was over.
Yeah.
5.5, 6 months have went by pretty quick. There for a while, it felt like I was drinking from a fire hose, and just really had to get settled in, get to know everybody. We have had some additional staff that have come in to be able to help us, and we've hit the ground running. I've been really excited about the things we've done. We've been able to pull some levers that have helped us financially. We've had great philanthropic support from our donor base. I think people are really fired up about the direction we're going. And we're on pace to have our best philanthropic year ever in donations. And then attendance-wise for football this year, we had 5 of the top 10 attendance records ever, including the number 1 with Virginia.
Yeah.
So also what I was really excited about was the student engagement. I told the board yesterday, for the first 5 home football games, and I know the 6th was different because it's around Thanksgiving and people are traveling back to see their families. But through the first 5 games, we had over 60% of our student body population at a game. Mm-hmm. I think you can look around the country. That's probably up there with the top.
Yeah.
And so just really excited about what we've been able to do, and now put out a letter to the fans, kind of telling them what's coming for the future of college athletics, where we stand, and some of the highlights we've had. And you're going to see a strategic plan at the first of the year roll out that really lays out what we're going to do moving forward.
Well, let's stick with football because, you mentioned you blink and the semester's over. We blinked and the football season's almost over. We got the bowl game coming up here. But so many different things about the in-game experience at Brooks Stadium this year with Chanticleer football. You go to the entrance with the fire and the motorcycles at every game this year. The fireworks also getting added as well throughout the season. When you look at football season as a whole, I know you talk about the student engagement and the 60% of the student body at the games, but just the different things that you added to the game day experience, what are you most proud of from that season?
I'm most proud of the staff and the work that they put into it. When I first came in here, we had about 4.5, 5 weeks before football season started, so threw a lot on people to try to get it off the ground, and we started adding things throughout the season, but people really embraced it. Brian Stiles on our staff did an amazing job, he and his staff. Brian was over here one night at 11:30 at night trying to build a tunnel, a makeshift tunnel that would look good on the video board. And, Lowe and his staff and Harold over at football put together some really great videos, entrance music. Cliff with the marketing department just, accepted the challenge. I mean, poor Cliff, I went up there and I asked him, okay, who does music, who does in-game, who does all this? And He said, it's just me, man. It's me and a bunch of students.
One-man show.
But did a phenomenal job. And I think the fans really embraced it. Our businesses really embraced it. I mean, the number of businesses that came forward to sponsor things. We had 2 really good donors that have businesses that sponsored the fire towers to be able to have that pyro and the smoke machines come out, and then added fireworks and some other things, and really look to build upon that for next year. Use that to show people, hey, buy your season tickets now.
Yeah.
Come out, because it's going to be even more exciting next year. We're going to add some things during the off season. I have a little bit longer than 5 weeks now to add things. And so we're already prepping for that right now.
We got some time to work with this time around. I will say, and I shouldn't say this, but I got some FOMO from doing the years that I was the PA announcer and jumping over to the radio crew, which was really fun this year. I had a great time and being on the road. But some of those, just the in-game experiences that I saw and how cool it was down on the field, like, man, I want to be the PA guy right now.
Oh, it was fun. And, it really started to come together late in the season.
Yeah.
That App State game, from the, having Sports Center live on campus to Thursday night, having everybody packed in there, and then when the students, rushed the field, I was right there in the 50-yard line with them. I was having a good old time.
There we go. Yeah, and we obviously know you're a very emotional guy on the sidelines as well, and
probably a little bit
passionate.
Probably a little too much sometimes. When the side judge doesn't call a touchdown when I think it should be, maybe a little too much.
I think you're right there.
I got a text from my wife, and she said, "I think it's about time for you to take a break. You're on TV right now."
That's when you know it's like, all right, let's take a deep breath and kind of collect ourselves here. But now we're getting ready for a really unique situation, because bowl season is here and Coastal is going to the Myrtle Beach Bowl and playing in their home stadium at Brooks Stadium. Just how a unique of an opportunity is that for this football team?
I keep telling everybody it's a very good opportunity, actually a great opportunity for us. One, you get to see your team play in Brooks Stadium again at home. Right? You don't have to travel very far. You get to come in here and watch them try to win and get some momentum going into the off season. But it also puts us on the national stage again. At this time of year, everybody's watching bowl games. A lot of people will be off work by then. People are off, out of school, and they're tuning in to watch all the bowl games, and they get to see the Teal Turf. They get to see Brooks Stadium. And while it is not necessarily a home game, because we're the visiting team in this, so we're on the west side of the stands. Right. All of our fans will be over there. It's a little bit different because we don't control the ticket inventory. It's still at home, right? We still get to showcase what we're about, what this university is about. And I think it is an opportunity for our fans to also show that they can support postseason. And what do I mean by that? When I was talking to the Bowl and to the ESPN people, they did make the comment that we haven't traveled well in the past as a fan base. And bowls do look at that when they're going through the selection process. And I think this is an opportunity for our fan base to come out, to buy tickets, to pack that place and show that they can support postseason play. I mean, we're depending on them now. If they can show up and they can pack the place and they can show that they will travel and be there, it's going to help us in the future with bowl selections.
Yeah, that was one thing I wanted to touch on from an athletic director's perspective. When teams are getting selected for bowl games, take me through the ins and outs of that process and the behind the scenes of how a team gets selected for a certain bowl game.
Yeah, it really comes down to the bowl tie-ins with the conference and what ESPN and the broadcast partners want to do. We as an institution, the athletics department, don't have a lot of say in that. We do kind of, give the commissioner, hey, these are the places we'd like to see, but that is also dictated on performance too, right? We didn't qualify for a bowl game until they're at the end. So you kind of look, and I did, go back and forth with the commissioner on some potential, teams that would come in here and play us. There were some matchups that, may be future opponents on a schedule that I don't think that's the best for us and our fan base. Want to be able to sell tickets for the future games and bring people in and not say, okay, well, I've already seen this team play, in a bowl game. So, Commissioner Gill is really good, took all that into account, but excited to be at the Myrtle Beach Bowl. I mean, this is big for us. It's home. It's home.
Yeah.
Right? So we get to showcase this on a national stage and bring our fans in here.
Talking with Coastal Athletic Director Chance Miller on the Chant Pod, presented by Revolution Mortgage. It is home, but it's not a home game. So for the fans that see, Coastal's playing at Brooks Stadium, you got one more home game. Why is this going to be different than a typical game day experience?
It is different. We don't control the parking inventory. We don't control the ticket inventory. Really, the game production of it, we don't control, which drives me crazy, by the way, because I really want to control that and be able to do all the things that we've done. So it will look different in terms of the production value of it. And then from a ticketing and parking standpoint, really encourage that the supporters, season ticket holders, donors, go onto our website and buy those tickets through us. We do get a rebate back on that, so that goes back into our athletic department coffers, which helps us. But you might not be sitting in the same seat that you've always sat in at Brooks Stadium. And just bear with us on that. But while you might not sit in the same seat or have the same parking space, I'm asking you, come out and show support to this team, cheer these guys on. You know, you look around the country and students are all taking their final exams and then they're going to go home. They're going to get a nice holiday break. Our football team's out there cracking pads this morning. They're working hard to be able to perform really well in the bowl game and want people to come out and support them.
Do you have a favorite bowl memory that you've been a part of in your years past?
Bowl memories. You know, the first ever bowl I went to was the Capital One Bowl down in Orlando.
Sure.
And so, you know, you have a whole week of going to the parks and everything. And we, you know, the team I was with was able to beat Wisconsin and finish 4th in the country that year. So that was a really cool experience. Did go to Tampa to the Outback Bowl one year. And, you know, you have to be down there 7 days prior for the Outback Bowl. So you look at the 10-day forecast and all of it was 80-degree weather. And I'm like, this is great. We packed shorts and T-shirts. We got down there and day 3, a cold front came through. And on kickoff, I think it was 44, raining, and 20-mile-an-hour winds. So nobody was dressed appropriately for that. But I think the best one, the most memorable one I had, you know, we were, when I was at South Carolina, we were coming off a really bad season the year before. Had to make a coaching change, brought Coach Beamer in. And it was going to be difficult to get back to a bowl game. And we were able to do so. We finished 6-6, got into a bowl game in North Carolina, in Charlotte against North Carolina, and were able to win that game. And I thought that was a special season. Kind of realized, you know, after not being in a bowl for a couple of years, you try to enjoy it while you're there and really appreciate those wins a lot more.
Well, let's hope and pray for the typical Myrtle Beach weather for the Myrtle Beach Bowl this year.
So I'm hoping for 75 and sunny.
That's what we want. And it was like that earlier this week, so you never know what's going to happen. But before Coastal plays in this bowl game, I mean, it's no secret. Coastal has players in the transfer portal, and every program has to deal with this. Just from your perspective, how tough is something like that to manage, especially at this time of the year?
You know, it's tough on everybody.
Right.
I mean, everybody around the country is going into the bowl and postseason play with a different team than what they played with throughout the season. And I think there's a couple of contributing factors to that. Yes, it's the transfer portal, right? It's wide open. So athletes that are really good want to go out and test that market. And there might be other opportunities for them that are better opportunities. That's fine. That, you know, we all understand that. We all professionally, if we have better opportunities, would look at that as well, right? But there's also this new House case that is getting settled that's going through the court system that is going to affect all of college athletics, and it will affect roster sizes. So right now, most football teams around the country, you know, have between 120 to 125 on the roster. Well, those roster cuts come August of this year, you can only have 105. All right, so you're going to have to cut roster spots, and everybody around the country is doing that, including us. And so I think you're seeing more of those individuals going to the portal trying to find a home or a roster spot that they don't have that concern that they might be cut, right? But I will tell people this, you know, fans get worried when they see people go into the transfer portal and they think, oh, all these people are going to the transfer portal. What's wrong with our team? You know, is something concerning? It's not always a bad thing, right? Because what the transfer portal takes away can also give back.
Goes both ways.
And it goes both ways. And you get a chance to really reevaluate your team. You know, we're coming off of a 6-6 season. There were some areas that we really need to invest in and to bring in better players. And this gives us the ability to do so. And I'm really excited about where we're going moving forward. You know, Coach Beck and I spent probably 5.5 hours together on Sunday after the Georgia State game in his office talking about how we were going to build this team back and what that was going to look like. And we went soup to nuts from top to bottom in his program about what we were going to do. And I think we have a really good plan. Right before I came in here, just got off the phone, getting ready to hire a general manager that's going to help us with the transfer portal and with essentially the revenue share that's coming up, right? How do you negotiate that and how do you manage that, you know, cap, so to speak? And we're going to be one of the first, I think, group of 5 schools to really dive into that and do it differently. And so excited about what we've got coming. So I would just tell the fans, don't worry too much.
Yeah,
we're going to be just fine.
Of course. And obviously those bigger programs getting general managers, and that's kind of been a thing that's a trend that's happening in college football now and college basketball are those general managers coming on. And speaking of college basketball, let's hop over to the hoops side of things because that's getting in full force. I mean, we're getting ready for conference season now. At this point, what have been some of the early things that you've noticed about the basketball?
I tell you what, really excited about our women's basketball team. They've got a really good squad. Coach Pedersen talks about coastal chaos.
Yeah,
they press constantly. And I think we were talking the other night. He mentioned something about I think we're number one in the nation in half-court defensive efficiency. And being 6-1 right now, getting ready to go to conference play. They've got a couple of non-conference games coming up in the next, I think, 8 or 9 days, but. Really excited about where they're going to be in conference play. And then looking at Coach Gray and his team, they're still building, but being 5-5 right now, I think they're competing really hard. They play great defense. And now, as of a couple of nights ago, the shots are falling. I think at one point we were shooting 71% from three-point range in the first half. Went up to NC State and watched them play, and, they hung with them. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is a team that just came off of a Final Four run. And I look up and it's halftime, we're down by 2. And, other than a really bad start to the second half, we had a 3-minute period that just couldn't do anything and had to adjust. That game was pretty close. I mean, we were single digits under a minute and a half to play at their place. So I think Coach Gray's got something he's building upon. I think Coach Pedersen's got a really exciting brand of basketball and just would encourage people to really come out to HTC when conference play starts. I know games around the holidays are hard because students aren't here and people traveling around have other plans, so it's hard to pack it in. But once we get to January and February, I want 3,000 people in that HTC Center being raucous.
Yeah. Well, we had Coach Pedersen on last week, and I mentioned this to him at that time, but I'm making a push for the Coastal Chaos merch.
Yeah.
We got to get some shirts going, man.
Awesome. All right. Well, come on over. I'll put you to work.
Yeah. Anytime, man. I'm available. But you mentioned the attendance, and that first men's basketball game was the highest attended game in years. I will say, doing the women's games on ESPN Plus and kind of noticing the environment there, it's a lot more of a lively environment. Yeah. They're more loud. There's more people. What have you credited those early season returns to?
Honestly, I think it's to the coaches and the student athletes. We asked them to get out in front of everybody. They poured out into the community and really developed relationships that people were like, hey, you know what, I want to go see those kids play. And I think they're going to do more of that. We're pushing that constantly with our teams is get out in the community, bring people in. There's been a lot of transplants in Myrtle Beach and the Conway area. They're looking for something to do. Let's give them a fan, let them become part of the fan base and supporters here.
Yeah, it's easy when it's exciting brands of basketball on both sides as well, with the men's side playing really hard, women obviously really fun to watch. But you've been now in the Myrtle Beach and Conway area for about half a year at this point, back in June or July. But what have been some of the favorite restaurant spots that you've been
restaurants? My family and I wear out the River Oaks Pizzeria area. We're over in the Carolina Forest area, so when Lauren and I don't want to cook, kids usually want pizza.
That's the spot.
So we go over there. Two Taco right across the street over here.
Yeah.
Off 501. That's solid.
We were just talking about it.
Yeah, we wear out Two Taco. There's been a lot of good places. Downtown Conway has awesome places. I think we've worn out pretty much every one of those restaurants, and then eating at Shanti's for the coaches show every week. I probably eat out a little too much. I need to stop eating out so much and maybe get on a treadmill.
Yeah, enjoy yourself, man. No, 100%. And Shanti's, for the coaches show every Tuesday during the football season. And they got one more on Monday for the bowl game as well. But that spot is incredible. And this time of year now, we're getting ready for 2025. But December is always the month that the Spotify Wrapped comes out. And you mentioned before this, you're a Spotify guy as far as music intake. So what did that Spotify Wrapped look like? What's on the music agenda?
I like country music. So a lot of my Spotify is country music. But I'll listen to everything. I love the 80s and 90s stuff. I'm trying to introduce my kids to, some older music. Mm-hmm. And I was trying to play 80s music for them the other day. And Kaysen, he's 8 now, and he's asking me all about the 80s.
Yeah.
And I realized that's been a long time ago. And so I'm telling him what used to happen in the 80s, and he stopped me. He said, Dad, the 80s sound like a wild time.
I think it was. Everything I've heard about it.
Because I told him, I said, when we were little, we just would go outside, and our parents didn't know where we were. And I think there used to be this advertisement right when the news would start late at night. And it would say, it's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your kids are? I'm like, God, man, they used to have to tell you to go find your kids.
Oh, my gosh.
So now we all hover over our kids and worry about them. But it was a little different. So I'm trying to introduce them to some new music, but it's a lot of old school stuff and country music.
Hey, 80s was, I love 80s music. And me and Coach Pedersen were actually bonding last week. He asked me what my favorite Christmas song was. I said Last Christmas by Wham. And I said I'm a big George Michael guy.
That's a good one.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
And he complimented. He said I got the George Michael hair going on, which I take as a big compliment, Coach. So I appreciate it. But the calendar will flip soon. We'll be ready for 2025, and just give us some things that the Coastal fans can look forward to in the next year. Obviously with the baseball season coming up in the spring, but a lot of exciting things until next year.
I think you're going to see some changes at the baseball stadium. I know concessions were always an issue, so we've redone those. We're going to have more points to sell. Out in the left field area, we're going to have kind of a party zone out there with a tented area that will have some heaters during the cold games and some, misting fans during the hot times in April and May. You're going to see some different things at baseball, which will be exciting. We're adding some new premium options on the concourse area. And then, going into next year, really, that gives us a lot of time to prep what the facilities are going to look like. You're going to see that in our strategic plan that are going to go out, that there is going to be some capital investments that we're going to make. But soon, I think probably in the next month and a half, we are going to launch an app for our athletics department.
All right.
And that app's going to be, you download it on your phone. Your tickets are going to be through there. You can donate through there, but the schedule, things like what we're doing right now will be on that app. It'll be a one-click. If you're in your car and you want to listen to a game, you're going to be able to click it and stream it through your car through that app.
Wow.
So really excited about that. That'll allow us to deliver a lot of our information, new things that we're doing, and just good content back to our fans.
Yeah. 2025 sounds like a really exciting year in Teal Nation. And Chance, obviously a really hectic time right now, but appreciate you coming on the Chant Pod.
I appreciate you guys having us.
And now let's go win a bowl game.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you.
Well, of course, talking with Chance got me really excited for what's to come in Teal Nation. Thank you to Chance Miller for stopping by. And now let's get into what we're expecting over the next week. Of course, we all saw that Coastal football is staying home for their bowl game destination this year. It's the Myrtle Beach Bowl for the Chants against the UTSA Roadrunners on Monday, December 23rd at 11 a.m. Both teams are 6-6 entering this matchup, and we've got next week's episode to dive into that a little bit more, but a great opportunity to catch your Chants right here at home in a bowl game. On the hardwood, the men's basketball team picked up a win over Southern Virginia on Wednesday, 82-57. They now stand at 5-5 and have one game this week. The Chants will take on North Carolina A&T on Tuesday at 7 in Greensboro, North Carolina. And you heard how excited Chance was about the women's team. Well, they're 6-1 right now after knocking off Jacksonville State 55-44 last Saturday. And again, it was Savannah Brooks leading the team in scoring with 18. One game for the Chants this week on the road. They'll face Presbyterian on Sunday at 2 o'clock to keep that chaos coming. So that'll do it on this week's episode of the Chant Pod presented by Revolution Mortgage. Thank you again to Chance Miller for coming on and giving us some great insight on the teams we know and we love. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. I'm Sam Wiederhaft signing off. Chants up.